Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Sorry about that. Okie dokie. We have a lot of things to discuss today. A lot of things to discuss. Putin is lying. Kennedy Center stuff. Gaza situation. Then the Yemen situation, which is a really interesting issue as well. And also the China thing that's going on. And I've read like about sup bro, I'm back. What up, Grandma's boy toy? It's been a while. It's been a while. I've read a lot of information, like, well, not information, but that there's an ongoing drone attack in Moscow, but no, my balls hurt, bro. I went to the doctor and they can't figure it out. Maybe masturbate less. That could be a thing. Nah. If you seriously, if your balls are hurting, hopefully you find some what's causing it. So yeah, there's no credible source on those Moscow drone strike claims that Austin network is claiming. Yeah, I think that this is again one of those, like, Russian bots are just spreading misinformation as usual. Because I have not seen any of this. This is probably a Russian bot as well. Wouldn't surprise me though. All right, let's jump into the China situation first. So, China is again flexing a bit of their strength. They've had for the past few days now all sorts of different military drills and training on the coast of Taiwan, surrounding Taiwan, and in the area of Taiwan in general. And of course, people have been starting to wonder, like, is this gonna be the day? Is this gonna be the day or the time that China is gonna do something? I agree, Mickey Blind. I agree, Mickey Blind. Fuck China. I'm not a fan of one China. I think Hong Kong and Taiwan should be freed. I know. I can never visit China because I say this out loud in the internet where China is monitoring everything. But yeah, fuck China. 100% agree with that. I think their hostilities towards Taiwan and Hong Kong is like, they don't need to do that. Social points down to negatives. Oh yeah. Well, they can't go that much further down. Like, they're already in the negatives. So somebody mentioned in one of my videos where I was criticizing China that the social credit score of China is a US hoax and it's not an actual thing. Well, Chinese propaganda apparently works really well to this specific commenter, because the social credit score is a thing and it's not propaganda. Footage from Chinese state media shows naval, air, and ground forces training on Monday and Tuesday. This is just like, because they're so butthurt about what the Prime Minister of Japan said. So this is again just China flexing. And of course, it didn't help that Trump also is trying his hardest to agitate the Chinese leaders. A show of power, definitely, 100%. Trump nightmare never ends. It will eventually. He's an old man, so there isn't that much time anymore. Eventually, the nightmare will end. This map shows the area the Chinese mark for the exercise, which is on the north, south, east, and west side of Taiwan Island. China warned ships and aircraft to stay away from the 7 live fire zones on Tuesday. Taiwan released footage of its Coast Guard monitoring the activities of the Chinese ships. Hoping that it happens in 2026. Trump is stealing us blind, so he's attacking everything to distract us. 100%. Majority, like Venezuela, Iran, China, even Ukraine. I think a lot of this is like Trump just trying to avoid responsibility and trying to, you know, deflect the spotlight to something else. Hey, Ralph Berry, 3 red hearts of different sizes. Thanks for the $0.99. Thanks a million. But yeah, 100%. Like, Trump is just trying to deflect. And he's been trying to do that for a while, especially since the Epstein files came. And he didn't want to release them, so then he started attacking Venezuela, which was a great distraction. Then, of course, Israel, Ukraine, China, Nigeria, Iran, Syria, all of those, just to deflect spotlight. And of course, like Greenland, there's so many attempts from him to just try to avoid answering questions and responsibility. And to be fair, we do need some sort of a system that reporters or fact checkers would keep Trump in check. Because he can lie as much as he wants to. And even though us, who can actually see through his lies, we see those lies. But unfortunately, the fan base of Trump doesn't. So we need something more. I'll try my best and call out his lies as much as I can. But he does lie so much that it's really fucking hard to keep up with him. China said the maneuver simulated port blockades and denial of access to forces allied with Taiwan. Taiwan is a really, really small island on the coast of China. So if China wants to attack Taiwan, which they are probably at some point going to do, and I am unfortunately quite surprised they haven't done that yet. Maybe they're just avoiding the backlash from the international community. That could be a reason for that. But like, it's going to be hard to defend Taiwan. And I hope China is going to get like retaliation from everyone if they decide to attack Taiwan. Taiwan has done nothing. Absolutely nothing to deserve that. Other than exist. And that's enough for China, because anyone who knows the history of that area, Taiwan's existence is a daily reminder to China that they didn't win completely. So at some point, Xi Jinping will probably do something more drastic to remove that stain from their history. Earlier this month, President Trump revealed a proposed arms sale to Taiwan worth more than $11 billion. And I hate that sort of tactic that Trump has, that like he throws up in the air those sort of things without really thinking the consequences. Like, it doesn't matter for the United States and it doesn't matter to Trump if he says that they are planning a deal with Taiwan on arms. But it matters to Taiwan, especially because, well, of course, China heard about this, and then they again increased the hostilities in that area, as they usually do. As they usually do. They're probably waiting to see if US is going to steal Greenland or not. And if US decides to steal Greenland, maybe they'll act after that. Let's talk about my next favorite dictator immediately now. After Xi Jinping. Trump throws youngest people to see what happens to blackmail them. Oh yeah. Next favorite dictator. Yeah, like the topic of a dictator. Which is Vladimir Putin and his stupid claim of Ukraine launching 91 drones towards Russia, towards Putin's residency, which is, of course, another one of Russia's lies, because that's what Russia does really well. Favorite dictator. I mean, okay, I could have phrased it better, like my next favorite dictator to talk about would be probably the better way of phrasing this. Hey, Ralph Berry, thanks for another $1. Expressionless face. Thanks for another $1. Yeah. It is wild that Zelenskyy even needs to make a statement that Ukraine isn't behind this. But unfortunately, as we see in X and everywhere, the Russian bot armies, the Kremlin payroll agitators in social media. And also I've seen that the same thing in my comment section in Facebook and Instagram and in YouTube. When I talk bad about Russia, they will always come and protect Russia. And their arguments are always the same playbook that Kremlin has. But yeah, there's no proof. There's zero proof of 91 drones being slung towards the Novgorod residency of Putin. Zero proof. And even Peskov, the spokesperson of Kremlin, said that we don't need to provide evidence for you. My government is so embarrassing right now. Trump is a fool. Trump is a useful fool for the dictator. So those who don't know, this is Trump yesterday with Netanyahu talking about, he was asked about the drone strike, alleged drone strike.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's not good. I heard about it this morning. You know who told me about it? President Putin told me about it. Early in the morning, he said he was attacked. It's no good. It's no good. Don't forget, you know, the Tomahawks. I stopped the Tomahawks. I didn't want that. Because we're talking about, you know, it's a delicate period of time. This is not the right time. It's one thing to be offensive, because they were offensive. It's another thing to attack his house. It's not the right time to do any of that, and can't do it. And I learned about it from President Putin today. I was very angry about it.
And the follow-up question for that should have been from the reporters. Wait a fucking second. You're the president of the United States. You have one of the biggest budget when it comes to surveilling different countries, surveilling airspaces and surveilling people. And you're not asking from your intelligence agencies, is this true? You're taking Putin's word for face value. And you're not checking with your intelligence agencies that, is this intel correct? Did this strike happen? Which so happened to be that it didn't happen. So Trump just made a fool out of not only himself, but the whole country of the United States, because they have a president like this that trusts a known dictator, a known liar, a known war criminal more than his own intelligence agencies. That's just baffling that you believe Putin on face value. Especially us Finnish. We know this really is this hippie a German? This country is no concern of yours. Mind your own business, fuck off. Sputnik! Oh, won't you look at that? I told you we have Russian bots here. America's intelligence probably gave Ukraine's location. Well, unfortunately, the head of the intelligence agencies in the United States is Tulsi Gabbard, who so happened to be a really good friend of Kremlin, and was on the watch list because of his ties and pro-Russia statements in the past. So, okay, there is an argument that that was my... Oh, yeah, you said that last time as well. Bye, Sputnik. We have learned to really not trust anything our intelligence say openly. That is true. But if you were the president of the United States, you should use your intelligence agencies. Or at least, I don't know. I would have fucking called Zelenskyy rather than trust Putin. No offense. Well, if you really want to get down to it, is that the president thinks Putin is his friend. Oh yeah. And he's said it many times. He's a really good friend of Putin. And as I was about to say before, Sputnik, the Russian bot in YouTube chat, decided to open his Russian mouth. It's like, us Finnish. I'm Finnish, for those who don't know. I live in Ireland, but I'm born Finnish. So, us Finns know how much Kremlin and Putin lie. There are so many instances throughout decades that Kremlin has tried to lure Finland to overreach or react by making lies that we are sabotaging electric grids around the fucking border, that our troops are starting to get ready to take Karelia back. They've attacked our infrastructure all the time. Like, we know how much Putin lies. Trump knows Ukraine cannot win. Trump knows what Putin wants him to know. Dr. Strange's most obvious Finn. Yeah. Yeah, like I trust a woman who dyes a gray streak in her hair and talks like that. Oh yeah. I mean, that's the ultimate power move to make that one gray strip, you know. Who do you think destroyed Nord Stream 2 pipeline? Wasn't it the Chinese, though? Originally, we thought it was the Russians. I think the latest was it's the Chinese. On the Baltic Sea, you're talking about that one. Like, who are you? Oh, I'm a Native American who dyes a gray streak in her hair. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard shouldn't have been like in charge of the intelligence agency, especially because of her ties with Kremlin. I'm pretty sure it was. Is it weird to be jealous of how smartly China plays this game? It is kind of... China stays away from all of the major conflicts other than like Taiwan and Hong Kong related. Gabbard is not a warmonger, but he is a soundhole for Russia, so in that sense she is a warmonger though. Yeah, dude, when a woman is stupider than me, she probably shouldn't be in charge of anything. I mean, she says what her supreme leaders are telling her to say. Like, she's not the most incompetent person in the admin, though. Like, I think Hexet takes that. I think Hexed is probably the most incompetent person in that admin. I can't say Trump because it doesn't take that much to be a president, to be fair. If a person who's required to take 3 cognitive tests because of his declining mental state, like, can't be a president of the United States, it doesn't really require that much. What a Blu-rays? I'm doing fine. It's almost at the end of the year. How are you doing, Blu-rays? Oh yeah, beat Hexed. Jägermeister Hexed. Yeah, Hexed definitely is like on top of that list, like the most incompetent person in that app. No, oh my god. Then we have Kristi Noem. Yeah, okay. I have to take that back. I think Kristi Noem and Hexed are tied at number 1. And dude, like, what do you want to do? Oh, I'll wear some white power tattoos on my chest and just talk to them like that. I miss when US president wasn't a puppet. Yeah, Dr. Strangers, do you know how the peace will be achieved? Dr. Strangers, how Russia, there should be peace is Russia fucks off back to Russia. US push to Cuba. Oh my god. Come on. Oh yeah. Russia was pushed to start a war and occupy those territories. Oh yeah. Russia is the victim here. Fuck that. Fuck you also as well. I usually time out people, but that's an insta block. Yeah, Russia is not the victim here. Yeah, Noam and Hexed are probably number 1 and number 2 on the worst of the Trump admin. Pam Bondi at least was an attorney. She hasn't done a really good job though. Then we had the border jar. Then we had that. What's the wannabe Benito Mussolini? Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is the one. The wannabe Benito Mussolini. Like this picture from Stephen Miller. Gives me gives me Benito Mussolini vibes quite a lot. Look at this. Here's Stephen Miller. Oh, no, TikTok can't see, unfortunately. Sorry about that, but because TikTok will flag that I'm copying content if I show pictures or videos while I'm talking shit. So Stephen Miller, Benito Mussolini. Stephen Miller, Benito Mussolini. Full screen on Twitch and YouTube if you want to see more. Oh yeah. But I didn't know this originally. Like when Stephen Miller joined the Trump admin. But during the Vanity Fair photo shoot. What up, Aishing? 8087. I'm doing fine. How are you doing? But the Vanity Fair photo shoot that the Trump admin had. I know this Stephen Miller. This one. Like, god damn. Oh, that's a big picture of Stephen Miller. Oh, wow. Are we discussing about World War II or what? No. We're not discussing about World War II. What up, Erika? We're talking about Stephen Miller looking kind of a bit too much Benito Mussolini. somebody apparently compared Stephen Miller to Joseph Goebbels, which is not that too far-fetched either. But I would say he looks like a younger Benito Mussolini. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe he had a pair. I mean, look at this. This could be from an Italian like fascist commercial back in the 30s when Mussolini was the shit. And this is Mussolini himself. Wild. Zelenskyy. Trump told me Putin wants to end the war. I told him Putin is a liar. I think that's a smart thing to say from Zelenskyy, because like Putin has given guarantees in the past as well. All sorts of guarantees. Energy guarantees, oil guarantees, military guarantees. Is it the look in his eyes that matches up? It's everything. It's the I can't wait to suppress the opposition and I can't wait to limit the freedom of speech or human rights of certain groups of people. It's that look, you know, the same look that Mussolini and Goebbels and Stephen Miller share. I don't want to go down in history as the president who helped Putin occupy my country. At least Zelenskyy is trying. It's not, you can't say the same thing about Putin, unfortunately. And then the Russian bots come and tell me that Zelenskyy is a liar and a CIA agent. I think somebody told me that Zelenskyy is a CIA operative, and oh my fucking god. People are drinking that conspiracy Kool-Aid a bit too much. And it's easy to do that, because if you just go to X, for example, today, there's like hundreds of Russian bots saying that Moscow is being attacked at the moment. And it's not. There's no drone attacks at Moscow at the moment. If there was, we would know about it. So could I get some of that like propaganda money from somebody? No, we need a code word. If I ever start praising Russia, that's a telltale for you guys that I sold out. Or if I ever start to like say that killing children is okay, you guys also know that I sold out. So those are the two like warning signs. If you ever hear me do either of those, how expensive are you? I mean, 350 probably. I don't see the war ending. It will continue for a long time. Putin knows he doesn't gain Ukraine land in peace deal. Russia will have the same fate that they got after losing war in Afghanistan. I had a pretty... Okay. If I was the leader of United States and I can see that Putin doesn't do peace, I would give Putin and the Russian delegations 2 papers. One of the papers is a peace deal. They get half of what they want. It's a compromise. And also a guarantee that Ukraine doesn't join NATO. And if they decide to decline that paper, there's the other paper that's an instant agreement that Ukraine joins NATO immediately, and then Russia is at war with NATO. And then there's not going to be a peace. And then Putin will be killed. The only problem here is like the current president that they have wouldn't have the balls to go through with that, because Putin kind of owns him. So, and you kind of need to have a pair of balls to do that. Of course, Putin is a former KGB agent, so you can't like intimidate him. He's probably tortured and killed a lot of people. during his tenure as a KGB agent. If you didn't know, Putin is a former KGB agent. He was. He was literally built and trained by Kremlin to become the leader of Russia. It wasn't a surprise. Well, in a sense it was, because there was quite a few candidates from those former KGB agents. But I think why Putin was selected at the end was because how much Kremlin can control him. He's not the craziest of those ex-KGB agents, even though he is batshit insane, but he's not the most craziest one. Russia alleges that Ukraine tried to hit Vladimir Putin's residence in a mass drone attack on Monday. The foreign minister Sergei Lavrov said Russian air defense shot down 91 drones, and he called the attack an act of state terrorism. Oh, I need to show this. I have a picture of it, though. Let's see if I can find it. Because Russia's defense ministry said that they didn't know about these drone strikes, and according to them, it's not real. It's good. Oh, in November they also shot down 98 drones. Wow. But yeah, Russia's defense ministry didn't know that the drone strikes happened, which is weird because Lavrov said that they knew, but the defense ministry said that they didn't. And no NATO for Ukraine. I see Putin having an edge for next 3 years. It depends on so many different things. Ukraine has denied the claim, and Volodymyr Zelenskyy accused Lavrov of spreading typical Russian lies, which is true, to try to undermine diplomatic progress between Kyiv and Washington. If you want to think about this rationally, Zelenskyy was happy what they discussed with Trump on Sunday. So why the fuck would Zelenskyy instantly trump everything? Okay, I'll watch on Switch. What up, Erika? So why would Zelenskyy, literally 12 hours after the meeting with Trump, try to undermine everything? That is the question you just need to ask. And then you know that in no way in hell did Ukraine try to strike Putin's residence in Novgorod. In no way in hell. The allegations come at that delicate diplomatic moment as Trump insists the peace deal between Russia and Ukraine is 95% done. Zelenskyy is desperately trying to keep the US president on side while Russia has persuaded Trump it is ready for negotiations but appears unwilling to give up on maximalist war aims. Better play Battlegrounds, huh? Nah. Battlegrounds apparently is really nice at the moment. Hey Natalie, thanks for the follow. Just take all Russia's money, all of it, no priest sees it. I'm afraid to say anything about my country, even over social media. Wait a second. America? You shouldn't be afraid. I should be afraid to say anything bad about America if I ever want to visit America. Because we all know that now if I want to get a tourist visa in America, I need to provide 5 years of my fucking social media history, social media activity, all the emails I've ever used, all my phone numbers, both myself, my wife, and both of my daughters. And do I want to provide a government that is spying on me already? All of my social media activity? I don't think so. And if I'm not favorable for the admin, they're not gonna let me have my tourist visa. The border people might have a good time if they are not trumpets, they would have a fucking field day. I have so many memes of Trump and JD Vance and Caroline Levitt, and they have no issue sending ICE to capture citizens. Yes. I've been following the ICE situation ever since it started. And that is so fucking despicable. To do that to your own citizens as well. Jutta, what was the percentage of like ICE arrests being false? Could you get that for me? The percentage was quite high. Like the number of like ICE captures that were actually not warranted. But yeah, like I've said so much shit about like the American admin, also Chinese. So I don't think I have like much say to go to China or the United States. It would be interesting a thought process, like a thought experiment, to go to China and go to the United States and see if I can enter either one and which one is gonna let me go there. Like, if you asked this a year ago, I would say I would have no issues going into the United States. United States would not deny my access to the country. But now, I actually think I have a better chance going to China than the United States because of my speech. Roughly 73% of the Danes as of late 2025 had no criminal convictions according to TIRAC. It's a fucking bad hit rate from ICE. My partner is trans and also not born in the USA. She is a citizen though. She's still afraid. I understand, and I do feel like the fear is like warranted, unfortunately. It shouldn't be. Because if you are a citizen, it should be, you know, game over. They can't come after you. But they have done that. They have arrested US citizens on false charges and without reason. Because they don't follow due process. They arrest you first and then maybe at some point ask questions. I think it was like a few weeks ago when we watched the New York Times piece, no, Washington Post piece about the ICE detainees that were detained like for 3 months without like giving any explanation why. No phone calls outside, no nothing. And then they just fucking released the person. And it's not like they sent people back to their home country. They sent them to scary places. Oh yeah. CSAC, for example. We talked about that as well. The El Salvador prison that Kristi Noem, the fucking idiot who's responsible for the for ICE, the ICE queen, taking social media pictures while arresting US citizens. What a fucking asshole. Was told by the judges, turn back the planes that had Venezuelans in them. And originally they were supposed to go back to Venezuela, but apparently that was never the plan, and they took it to CSAT, the El Salvador maximum prison that they literally torture people. And they weren't even taken to Venezuela, they were taken to El Salvador. And after they were released from El Salvador, they were taken back to, they were taken to Colombia, actually. We can move back to England if we need to, but that's a real process. You can come to Ireland. Also, Finland is always an option. If you have an English, do you have dual citizenship with like England? If you have a dual citizenship with England, you can actually come to Ireland. I know my fellow Irish people will hate me for wife is dual citizenship. Oh, there you go. then you have a free pass to come to Ireland. I wouldn't go to Britain, though. This is my favorite paragraph ever. Sorry for hopping. What evidence has Moscow provided? Absolutely none. End of story. And on Tuesday, Putin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said there would be none forthcoming. That's what I said. Even before, like, because I heard Peskov talking about this. Peskov said that there is no reason we need to provide any evidence of the drone strikes. Because according to him, because there was 91 drones, the evidence should be visible for everyone. There is none and none coming, but trust me, bro. I mean, Dmitry Peskov is just such a fucking lying sack of shit. Like, if you want to see what a liar looks like or sounds like, you should listen to Dmitry Peskov talk. Of course, it's going to be in Russian, but like, you can see he's technically like the Pete Hegseth of United States, except he's not the military leader. Is Ferrero Rocher still a 100% win rate tactic? I mean, Ferrero Rocher is one of the best chocolates ever. New York is a good state to live in, so we're staying for now. New York is a good state, and you got a good mayor at least in New York City, even though it's just the mayor of New York City. But there's hope in the United States from the younger generation. Mamdani was a really, really good win. And I think Mamdani is going to do good things. And New York is a good state. I have friends from New York, the state of New York. My boss is from the state of New York. She's a bit out there though, but she's a fucking awesome person. But she lives in Ireland. But New York isn't on my top list of states. New York doesn't crack my top 5 states of United States. It probably should. I should make a new list though. I haven't updated the tier list in a while. Like, it's Massachusetts, Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, and Colorado. No. We were just thinking with my wife states that we could move to with our kids. And then I did a bit of investigating. And the Rust Belt states. Is that what's it called? I don't count, like, it would be easy to just pick, you know, Connecticut and Rhode Island as well, because they're surrounding Massachusetts. They're the next to Massachusetts. But I don't count those. Like, they're a bit smaller. Like, it would be too easy to go to those smaller states. Like Maine would be a good one as well. New Hampshire would be another one. Vermont would be okay as well. But yeah, like Michigan. Did I say Michigan? Yeah, Michigan. Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota. The climate there would be like literally just going home, you know. Yeah, Colorado is a mixed bag. And I haven't updated this list in a few years, but Colorado has a lot of good things when it comes to like education, children, and also weed is legal there. So they're really like, even though it's a red state, they are a quite progressive red state. But Colorado, mostly why I chose it, it's kind of a selfish reason. And Colorado is really beautiful. There would be a lot of places for me to hike, which is a bit of a selfish reason. And there would also be like mountains to ski on, and But yeah, like I think Massachusetts is always gonna be number one. Massachusetts is just number one to me. Did Trump buy it? The early indications are Trump believed the claim. Oh, yeah. Moving on. Oh, yeah. Next news. Thanks. Let's take Saudi. Let's take Saudi Arabia, Yemen, and United Arab Emirates. I knew that there's like an internal conflict in Yemen, but I haven't updated my knowledge on it in a while. But now I know that there's a bit of a bigger issue looming deeper, which is Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates are actually clashing with each other. Hey Yari, thanks for the follow. So the United Arab Emirates and Saudi are actually fighting. Not yet full-blown war, but Saudi did hit a convoy of boats, vessels, in the shore of Yemen. A Saudi-led coalition said it targeted an arms shipment from the United Arab Emirates in Yemen. So Saudi Arabia is claiming that United Arab Emirates are funding and providing ammunition and weapons to the Houthis. Was it the Houthis though? I think it was the Saudi, yeah. So the Saudis support Yemen's government, and the United Arab Emirates are supporting the south of Yemen. That is a kind of a rebel army that's trying to take over Yemen, or at least get the country separated in two. Yeah, that's the one. Southern Transitional Council, STC. So it's like a paramilitary group, separatist group, backed by the Emirates, and that's where the schism comes with. So Saudi wants United Arab Emirates to stop funding that group, and United Arab Emirates has their own selfish needs, which is, of course, they want groups to take over that they can control. Both sides wants the same thing, but with different groups. So you have the north and you have the south. The north is with Saudis and the south is with United Arab Emirates. So the Emirati foreign minister said that shipment contained vehicles intended for its own forces in Yemen, not weapons. Because in Yemen, there's also troops from Saudi and Emirates. But Saudis didn't really believe that. So they gave an ultimatum to the Emirate forces to fuck off. And the US and Israel threw a couple strikes in, and it's a mess. The escalation signaled a deepening rift between the Gulf allies who have diverged in recent years in Yemen, backing rival powers. But that's not a surprise, to be fair, considering like both are fighting for the same stuff. Power. Kuwait emphasizes necessity to preserve integrity of Yemeni territories. So Kuwait has chimed in. The state of Kuwait affirms its continued support for all regional and international efforts aimed at consolidating dialogue and adopting diplomatic solutions, considering them the optimal path to achieving security and stability. So, because I understand why Saudi is afraid of the separatists taking over. And I understand why United Arab Emirates wants that. Whoever controls the southern part controls the flow of business. Hey, Leif, thanks for the follow. But unfortunate for United Arab Emirates, the Muslim Brotherhood is kind of backing Saudi, of course. Is that a surprise? The Ministry of Foreign Affairs affirms that the security of the sisterly kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the security of the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC, states is an integral part of the security of the state of Qatar. So Emirates and the Yemen separatists are kind of on their own. Yemen Presidential Council, backed by Saudi Arabia, says Emirati-backed forces must leave Yemen within 24 hours. It follows a Saudi airstrike on Mukalla port after 2 ships unloaded weapons for southern separatists. Analysts are warning that violence in Yemen could escalate. This is a really nice way of ending the year, don't you think? We have Israeli breaking ceasefire all the time. Russia's trying to avoid peace with Ukraine, and Middle East is erupting. And of course, China is escalating the Taiwan situation. United States is bombing Venezuela. United States bombing Nigeria. United States threatening to bomb Iran. United States trying to steal Greenland. United States trying to do all sorts of different stuff. Has a finger in everything. Happy 2026. Oh yeah. Kind of feels like United States has a finger on every single thing. What are the groups controlling Yemen? The SDC is a southern Yemeni separatist movement formed on May 11, 2017. It emerged after mass protest in Aden against the dismissal of its leader, Aidarus al-Zoubabi, as the governor of Aden. He became head of the 26-member council and sits on the PLC. The council declared aim is to reinstate the southern state, a reference to the independent state that existed in the south from 1967 to 1990, before unification with the north. With backing from the UAE, the SDC exerts control over the number of paramilitary forces originally known as the Security Belt, now often referred to broadly as the Southern Armed Forces. Over time, the SDC has gained significant territorial and political influence in southern Yemen, most notably by capturing the port city of Aden, or Aden. It has repeatedly declared self-rule in areas under its control, citing government corruption and misgovernance. We can also jump into a different topic, which is related to what's happening in the United States, in my opinion, and also kind of a weird move. Like, I don't know how many of you were in the live a few days ago when, during that live, we got the news that Israel recognized Somaliland. As you can see from this map, there's no Somaliland, but Somaliland is technically splitting Somalia in two, and they want their own like state there. And Israel was first one to recognize Somaliland, which sounded kind of weird that Israel would do a nice thing. But then you see what is literally here. And first of all, Yemen is on the other side of the Gulf of Aden, and also the pathway for oil to go in and out of the Gulf. And of course, like, if Somaliland is recognized by Israel, it's probably going to be recognized by the United States in the upcoming weeks or months. Even though a lot of countries around the world have already said that they're not going to recognize Somaliland. But I'm going to make a prediction now that it's on the 30th of December. Within the first month of 2026, the United States will recognize Somaliland and trying to force everybody else to do the same. Because it would benefit the US interests quite a lot to have that territory that is considered friendly. I'm not sure they want to recognize themselves. No. The Somaliland, like, I put my nose in that place's business a bit. Hey, Peter, thanks for the follow. I put my nose in that place's business for a bit and like did a bit of research. And that specific area of Somalia, which was Somaliland earlier, when it was split into, it was Somalia and Somaliland. That specific area of Somali is actually really friendly with Israel and not Somalia. So they actually want to be recognized. Not all of them, of course, but a lot of them. And that's why Somalia is so aggressive when it comes to the reaction that they had, and also the African countries had, because they, of course, take this as a hostile foreign nation trying to effect on Africa country, like a country from Africa, their internal struggles. Which I understand. It's the same thing as like Elon Musk tried to affect European politics. It's a foreign entity trying to use its huge platform and reach and power to affect politics on a whole continent. Usually with mis or disinformation, which is Elon's like go-to tactics. Use his ways to manipulate the algorithm in X to funnel a certain narrative and silence the other narrative. That's what Elon does. That's what Elon did in the election and in the US election. That's what Elon did in the Turkish election. That's what Elon has done in the past. If there's people still who want to deny that Elon Musk manipulates the algorithm to benefit what he thinks is the correct thing, you need help. You can use Grok if you want to. If you don't believe in the news and you want to use Grok, which is the AI of X and Elon Musk, Grok will tell you the same thing, that Elon Musk has censored more people and censored more because of governmental requests than the previous Twitter owners. Also, Elon has individually, himself, personally, banned and censored a lot of people. Usually journalists. He really disliked journalists that fact-checked him or corrects him. He has done that quite a lot as well. But he's no stranger of like censoring a full opposition in politics as well. As we saw in Turkey, when Turkey was having their elections, Elon Musk, because of the request from Erdogan, censored the whole opposition of Turkey. Erdogan said that they were breaking the country's rules, which they weren't. So Elon used that as a scapegoat, saying that, hey, I need to abide with the rules of Turkey, otherwise X will be banned in Turkey. But then when EU asked Elon to follow regulations for transparency, that's censoring and limiting freedom of speech, which is, of course, bullshit. But then again, he's happy to celebrate today Elon Musk. This was one of the most hilarious things. Oh, I missed that Musk. One of the most hilarious things I saw today is that Elon Musk celebrated the Chinese Gigafactory. Just a second, I'll find the tweet. It was literally an hour ago or something like that. But he tweets so much bullshit, so... where the hell? Did he delete that tweet already? That would be hilarious. Replies? Can't be replies. Tesla Asia. Oh, so yeah. Elon reposted this one, the Tesla Asia post of our ninth millionth vehicle globally has just rolled out of the production line in Giga Shanghai. Those who don't know what Giga Shanghai is, it's the Gigafactory of Tesla that produces, I think it's like way over half of the parts and cars for Tesla. Which is the reason why Elon Musk doesn't talk shit about China, because China has banned X. You can't use X in China. But that's okay for Elon. Elon is okay with censorship and limiting freedom of speech because Tesla Gigafactory is in Shanghai. But even Tesla Asia, we can see, oh no, is using VPN to access X because they can't access X in Hong Kong. They can't access X with a mobile. That's why they're using a laptop or a PC. Because X is banned in China. So Tesla Asia is a product and proof of X's censorship in China. And this is okay for Elon because, well, the Shanghai Gigafactory makes him a lot of money. And if he said anything bad about the Chinese government, they would instantly shut down the Giga Shanghai factory. Or at least threatened to the point that Elon needs to again take back his words and probably do another tour of China like he did last time. He accidentally spoke bad things about. I think he accidentally shared a post that he was somehow supportive of either Hong Kong or Taiwan. And he went for a 2-week trip in China, just apologizing. If you see fraud and do not say fraud, you're a fraud. Well, Elon has made a lot of promises. So, one promise that Elon made in the beginning of the year is, and also many times throughout the year, he promised that the Tesla Roadster showcase would happen before the end of the year. But as we know, with everything that Elon says, just like with Trump, anytime Elon promises a timeline of anything, he's lying. Because he's lying for the shareholders and he's lying for investors also. That would be considered fraud, especially if you're doing it constantly. One time, you could make an excuse that, hey, yeah, there were like complications and bullshit. But if you make that your whole business is making false claims that we're going to have self-driving cars before the year 2022, before the year 2023, before the year 2024. Like all of the Teslas would be self-driving, completely self-driving, which is not true. That would be fraud. Also, Elon Musk claiming that he's a freedom of speech warrior, a freedom of speech absolutist, is a fraud. That is not true. But I do agree. For example, if we're talking about the case in Minnesota, like, if there is fraud, okay, investigate the fraud, arrest people who have done the fraud. But don't be selective whose fraud you are investigating and arresting people. Because if you are only interested in fraud that is committed by people of color, that makes you racist, if you like it or not. And if you're turning a blind eye to corruption that, let's say, billionaires do, or white people, I don't think this is a thing of color. I think this is only because they're not billionaires. They're getting prosecuted, probably. And I do think if there's fraud, catch them and also charge them. But let's hold everybody accountable who's committed fraud, whether you are poor or whether you're a billionaire. And one thing we shouldn't do at any point is pardon fraudsters. But that, unfortunately, is not possible because throughout the year, Trump has pardoned how many fraudsters? I think it was like 30 or 40. 30 or 40 fraudsters pardoned by Trump in this year alone. Oh, they might have not been fully pardoned. They might have... Commutations is the other one, yeah. Notable examples of individuals pardoned or commuted for fraud-related charges. Trevor Milton, Nicola Founder, securities and wire fraud. Don and Julie Chrisley, bank fraud and tax evasion. Michelle Fiore, wire fraud. Devon Archer, securities fraud scheme. George Santos, wire fraud and identity theft. Sentence commuted. David Gentile, securities and wire fraud. Glenn Casada, fraud and money laundering. Carlos Watson, fraud. Others like Michael Cream, tax evasion, fraud, and various crypto-related figures, anti-money laundering, and violations tied to financial platforms. So around 20 to 30 individuals. I can't worship an ethnicity. It's racist to worship Jews. What? Why would you worship anything? Don't worship anything. Be yourself. Worship yourself. If you want to worship something, worship yourself instead of someone or something. Except your possible wife. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Jesus was a Jew. They worship God as a Jew. I'm not 100% sure, Jim, what you're talking about. Like, Jesus wasn't a real person. If that's news for you, I'm sorry. Jesus wasn't white either. If we play that game that Jesus existed, that's racist. No, it's not. That's a fact. Do you think that Frodo Baggins existed? Do you think that Harry Potter is real? Do you think that Franklin the Tortoise is real? Do you want me to go on? Jesus is as real as Gandalf the Grey from Lord of the Rings. And I have to say, Gandalf the Grey is way cooler than Jesus. Yeah, Jesus can turn water into wine, but Gandalf fought a fucking Balrog. Like, that's fucking hardcore. I want to see Jesus do that. Of course, we have AI nowadays, so we can actually ask AI to make that happen. That Gandalf loses to Balrog, and Jesus comes and kicks Balrog's ass. That would be hilarious. Make that happen. Use AI for something good. My TikTok was full of like AI videos of Jesus doing different fucking anime moves. I don't know why. My TikTok algorithm is completely broken. It's either fail compilations of people like snapping their legs and limbs and tearing their muscles, you know, when you're weightlifting, or it's complete AI BS. It's not bullshit, to be fair. Like, I like those AI videos, to be fair. They're not the worst. Like, for example, what I just described, seeing Jesus doing Kamehameha from Dragon Ball. Fucking awesome. More of that, please. But it is weird, like, especially within the last, like, 2 months or so. My TikTok algorithm has changed quite a lot. To the next topic, which is not that fun. This is a divisive topic, but for me, it's kind of... I do enjoy talking about this. So, buckle up, buckaroos. We're talking about Israel and Gaza. A decimated Gaza marks the end of another year of Israel bombs. Nobody relaxes too much in the fleeting moments of nearby normalcy because they know these can disappear at any time. Over the past year, Gaza infrastructure has been subjected to a devastating reality. What once functioned under strain has been pushed beyond the point of collapse. Electricity networks, water systems, hospitals, roads, and municipal services has been systematically destroyed or severely damaged, leaving daily life defined by survival. It is not unusual for families to plan their days around the sound of generators if fuel is available at all. Parents and children queue for hours for a few liters of unsafe water or a pack of bread. Hospitals operate in near darkness, doctors performing life-saving procedures using mobile phones for light. Streets that once carried children to school are reduced to rubble. Gaza's reality is always harsh. Life in Gaza was never easy, even during the moments the outside world labeled as normal. For most people, life was lived with constant uncertainty. You learned not to plan too far ahead because calm was fragile, always temporary. There were days with electricity when the streets felt quieter and families allowed themselves a small sense of release, but everyone knew it would disappear at time. Gaza's infrastructure mirrors that it was fragile long before the latest devastation of Israel's genocidal war. Decades of illegal Israeli blockades, repeated military assaults, and tight restrictions on construction materials meant systems were always patched up, always operating on borrowed time, nothing truly recovered. One of the most visible losses has been electricity. Across the Gaza Strip, darkness is not an exception. Our only power plant was severely damaged and shut down due to fuel shortages. Close to 80% of power transmission has been destroyed. For families, this loss is felt in small, relentless ways. A mother charges her phone whenever a neighbor's generator briefly hums to life. No, it may be her only chance to contact family. Children do their homework by candlelight, if they do it at all. Refrigerators sit useless food spoil. Access to water has also deteriorated sharply. Israel's bombardment damaged wells, desalination plants, and pumping stations. Without electricity or fuel, clean water cannot be extracted or distributed. Over the course of our reporting on Israel's genocidal war on Gaza, we documented families lining up with plastic containers waiting for water trucks that may or may not arrive. When they do, the water often smells of salt or metal. It tastes sharp and unfamiliar. Many have no choice but to drink it anyway. Children fall sick with stomach infections, skin rashes spread. Washing becomes a luxury. And it is been a devastating year. It has been a devastating year of suffering and death in Gaza. And it is hard to describe, especially sitting here on my comfortable chair in my own office with clean water, fridge full of food, heating. And I don't need to worry that our neighboring country or our neighbor is going to kick down my door and steal my house or kill my kids when they're at school. It's easy for me to talk about this from the comfort of my home. And I think this is the least I can do, is shed light, because I don't have any other strength when it comes to this situation. And it is a genocide that is happening. Children are dying, women are dying, innocents are dying. And it's become a bit too normal to talk about death in our society. People don't flinch their eyes when they see a few hundred dead. People didn't flinch their eyes when we had a ceasefire and almost 300 people died in a ceasefire. Ayo, a bunch of scientists met Vedangting scholar makes a lot of sense, mate. Hard problem consciousness can be solved, I feel. Consciousness can be solved, I feel. Yeah. I like, whenever I read about this, whenever I talk about it, it's that feel when you see something horrible happening, but you can't really do anything. You know, you get that like disgusted feeling that people in power aren't gonna try to put an end to it, and have been watching on the sidelines for a long time. And how many deaths is gonna be enough? How many deaths more do we need until the world reacts? It's like, if you're a journalist in Ireland, you're safe. You don't need to stress about like your life. You might be hit with a bottle in a weekend in some shady alleys in Cork. 100%, there's like drunken idiots there. But you don't need to worry sniper fire. You don't need to worry that the military will come and execute you there and then because you're a journalist. And you might talk badly of what's the reality of what's going on. The same thing goes for civilians. One moment you're with your family, trying to enjoy the little freedom of bombardment, harassment, try to have a lovely moment. And then a rocket flies in and kills you. And then your relatives will read from the news how you were used as a human shield to justify killing you. Or that it was collateral damage. Or an Israeli spokesperson saying that, hey, it's only 0.9 persons per building that's died. Reducing your humanity into a number. And it's the dehumanizing factor that's allowed this tragedy to happen and is still happening. When you read ministers and spokespersons stripping away the humanity of the civilians in the Gaza Strip and also in the West Bank, comparing them to cockroaches, vermins, subhuman. The similar talk we heard in Germany in the 30s and in the 40s. And that sort of a dehumanizing talk has made the world numb as well. Because a lot of people don't really care anymore. They've seen that so much death that they're just numb. What up, Gabriel Zimmerman? We've learned nothing as a humankind. No, we haven't. No, we haven't. I just had a conversation with a friend about... Hey, Abby, thanks for the follow. I just had a conversation with a friend. We were talking about like different conflicts around the world. And like, for example, the boat killings in Venezuela, that United States is just randomly dropping boats. Might be drug traffickers, might be fishermen, but we don't have any proof. So, because they don't care about proof, they don't care about like doing intelligence first, they just shoot first. But I asked a question from my friend, how many people have do you think that died there? And he said that he has no idea. Then I said that how many people were killed in Gaza between the ceasefire and now. He said that no idea. Then I asked him how many people died in Washington, D.C., how many National Guards died. And he instantly said 1 and 1 is injured. Human life isn't valued the same when it comes to news and like people around the world. Oh, that's a pretty deep and profound subject, highly controversial. Oh yeah, 100%. But me and my friends, we do like to talk about this stuff. But human life isn't equal when it comes to like news sources and of course social media platforms and people, because they have read almost 70,000 people died between the last 2 years in Gaza. Almost 70,000. Some sources say more, some sources say less, but it's between 50 and 100,000. That's a lot of fucking human lives. But it's not apparently enough. It's not apparently enough of human lives to actually do anything. So I wonder what's the number? What's the real number of human lives that requires change? We know the number in the United States. If it's children killed in school shootings, the number is infinite. They are not willing to do any means to lower the amount of school shootings in the United States because they don't care about school shootings. They don't care about children. But if a celebrity or a politician die of a shooting or assassination or is murder, then you get a speech from the President of the United States and the flag is put into half-mast and the whole country mourns. You're right, but I guess none of it would have happened if certain people wouldn't have done what they did on October 7th. Yeah, what happened in October 7th was a horrible thing. But when does defense move to offense? This is a really controversial question. A retaliation for the tragedy and the death that October 7th was is understandable. I don't think anybody has the right to kill anyone. I'm a pacifist, everybody knows that. I don't believe in the death penalty either. But I always know that if a terrorist attack happens, there's always going to be a retaliation. And what happened in the October 7th wasn't a terrorist attack. But when does that retaliation, that payback, that revenge turn into aggression and attack? That's the most controversial topic around this. Well, that's the most controversial conversation around this topic that you can have. Did you just say that October the 7th wasn't a terror? No, I said the October the 7th was a terrorist attack. I said that I always knew there's going to be a retaliation whenever there's a tragedy or an attack. For example, the terrorist attack on October 7th. I always know that like October the 7th, well, 9/11, for example, the drone strikes, allegedly in Putin's house. Whenever there's terrorist attacks or attacks on sovereign nations, there's going to be a retaliation. there's going to be a counterattack. Revenge. But how much? What's the amount? Because 70,000 feels like a bit of overkill. That's my opinion. And then we can go to another controversial take, which we're probably going to get an answer next year. Is like, so what my take on these things is that we might be under the wrong impression that we matter in the economy of things, but we don't. We're little people. True. But here's another controversial topic around this. It's like, what if Netanyahu is found guilty? Then what? This is, of course, a what if. And this is a hypothetical because the court case is still going on. But what if Netanyahu is found guilty? And he knew about October 7th, let it happen, and was funding Hamas, which are the charges he's dealt with, among others. So what if he's found guilty? Is he going to be sentenced to death? Again, I don't agree with death penalties. I think life imprisonment should be enough. But some countries have death penalties. I'm not sure if Israel has death penalties. But personally, I don't think Trump's going to let it happen. Especially now that he's getting that peace reward. Trump is not going to let it happen because he's getting a beautiful peace reward from Israel. I can say it like pretty proudly that, and I think Gabriel Zimmerman, you probably heard this many times. I'm an atheist. I don't have anything against religion. My takes is never religious. They're always about government and people. Well, government and leaders, sorry, not people. So I have an issue with governments being eager to kill and leaders being eager to kill. And that's when I criticize Israel, I never criticize the religion. I never criticize the citizens of Israel. I criticize the leadership. The same thing goes for the United States. The same thing goes for here in Ireland, Finland, China, everywhere. You know what? I just realized that you're a very courageous person for bringing this subject on. I know I'm not the most... My takes aren't that hot, actually, if you think about it. Because this is what I really believe. Religion isn't the ultimate bad thing. People need belief. And even though I don't believe myself, I understand that people need it. But governments do horrible acts of things. For example, Putin and Russia. Goddamn. Going back to Putin and Russia again. There's nothing wrong with the Russian citizens. Russian citizens are, a lot of them who I know are really good. No, nothing against them. And they are kind of the same prisoners as everybody else. They're the prisoners of the government. But their government is committing war crimes. If I'm saying their government is committing war crimes, am I also saying that the citizens of Russia or the Orthodox Christianity is doing war crimes? No, I'm not. Because I separate those two things. If I'm criticizing Modi for backing up Putin. Because Modi wants to have good relations with Putin because he gets cheap oil and gasoline. I'm not criticizing Hinduism. I'm not criticizing the Christians in India or the Jews or the Muslims in India. I'm criticizing Modi as the leader of India. The same thing goes for when I criticize, again, Israel. Bibi Netanyahu and his cabinet has been dehumanizing not just Palestinians, but other countries like Lebanese and Syrians and Yemens and Iranians for a long time, calling them rodents and subhuman. Even laughing on the idea that soon there will be no Palestinians with homes or something like that. I have an issue with that. Who rules the world? Women. I think that was Beyonce's song. Oh, it was Girls, sorry. Yeah. Girls Run the World by Beyonce. I think that's the only acceptable answer when asked who rules the world. Stephen! Thanks for the... I thought you were dead. We are destroying more and more homes, and Gazans have nowhere to return. The only inevitable outcome will be the wish of Gazans to emigrate outside of Gaza Strip. And that was Bibi. What do you think about Trump? I hope that Father Time works faster. Direct quote. I hope Father Times works faster. And I also feel bad for Trump because GOP doesn't let him retire. Truth is the weak lose and the strong win nationwide. Yeah. It's wild because we live in year 2025 and we're still acting like we're cavemen fighting over like stupid territories and stupid bickering and arguments. We have the technology to actually make this fucking planet really nice for almost everyone. I would say everyone, but that's a bit optimistic because there's always going to be greed. But we could make this planet a really fucking great place for everyone. Instead, business as usual. Death and carnage, destroying the world, figuring out who's gonna use the nuclear weapons first. Fucking great. And what do you think about the Israeli government? I just told my stance on the Israeli government. I think the Israeli government is a bit too happy to kill innocent lives. And I've said this many times. If we want lasting peace on that region, we need to get rid of the Hamas leadership. Like, not just Hamas leadership. We need to get rid of Hamas leadership and Hamas in general. And also Hezbollah and Al-Qaeda and ISIS. And we can even get rid of like Boko Haram in Nigeria. Like, all of those terrorist groups needs to go. But we also need to held accountable Bibi Netanyahu and his admin. So when we are trying Hamas for crimes against humanity, in that same trial should be Bibi Netanyahu and the Israeli government. And then we would need to put UN-packed troops to make sure that shit fucking doesn't happen again. And people can live in peace, side by side. But that's never gonna happen. Nobody cares about the truth or the people look at what Trump does. Killing in Venezuela, and then he turns and says there's not a lot of killings in Nigeria. I think a military intervention would be necessary to stop the war and the killing of innocent people. Yeah. And it's wild that it hasn't happened. Like, I don't even think that conversation has occurred. And that is wild. Like, the conversation in UN should be, okay, here's 192 countries that will send military forces to force fucking peace in that region. And then there's Israel and Palestine. If they want to, they can resist, but that would be dumb. And they would go there and literally arrest all the fucking aggressors, which is the leaders of Hamas, and also the government of Israel. And then they would have elections. This might be a hot take, but I would even throw in a bone that we could return, let's say, the 1947 territories. And I think that those responsible in the Israeli government should be tried in Nuremberg. Oh yeah, 100%. Crimes against humanity. Both Israeli government and Hamas. Both should be tried in Hague for crimes against the humanity, put in a small box and sent to Antarctica. You might think this is a joke, but this has been my go-to because I don't believe in the death penalty. So the next best thing would be put in a 2x2x2 wooden box and sent to Antarctica. The ones that were originally agreed on, Jerusalem and as an international city and so on. Oh yeah. I think like the 1947 borders of the two states would be great. I think that would be fair for both. Unfortunately, I'm sure that I'm biased, but I tend to be on Israel's side. I'm forced to choose. Remember the 6-Day War, and the entire Muslim world vowed to quote exterminate Jews. Oh yeah, I do know. I've studied this conflict a bit too much, but also if that act is done to you, it is wild that you want to do the same for anybody else. I will give you an example. This is a bit of a personal anecdote, but I will give you a bit of an example of like the same rhetoric I was just using. Like, if something's done to you, why do you want to do that to the other one? I was almost beaten to death by five drug addicts with steel pipes. I still have a scar on my face because the first hit of the steel pipe came to my face, fractured my sinus cavities on this side of the cheek and also a few bones there. Then the next one was a kick to the back of my head, which cracked my skull a bit and also got a fractured serious concussion there. Then they kicked my ribs. I think I broke 2 on this side, broke 1 on that side, and fractured a few more. And I wasn't that far from death. I never want to do that to anyone, even though that was done to me. And I would have a good reason to take like revenge on those people, or even like I've had opportunities to beat up people after that. But I never want to harm anyone. I know how to. I know self-defense. But I would never want to do that to anyone. Free Palestine. Yeah. I don't pretend to know the truth or to have a moral high ground, but the truth is this subject is beyond my pay grade, so to speak. It is above all of our pay grades. But one thing that is not above our pay grade, I believe in revenge, though. I don't. But there's a point when revenge becomes something else. Why is the American government so close to Israel and ready to protect it at all costs? That is a good question, and to that I don't have answers. I don't have answers to that because all the topics surrounding that specific question are usually led by conspiracy theorists. So it's a really hard topic to have a proper answer because we don't have all the facts. Why is America so keen? There might be some interest because, as Netanyahu said himself, that because Israel works as an arbiter of justice in the Middle East on behalf of America, so America doesn't need to get the fingers dirty, so Israel can be the one that's actually like dishing out justice. This was Bibi Netanyahu as well. That could be one of the reasons. There might be others. Revenge, like somebody punches me, I punch them back. That's revenge. We can all, I can even agree on that. But if somebody punches me, I punch them, I kick their dog, I find where their brothers live, I beat them up as well. I see their neighbor taking out the trash, I will crack their neighbor's skull in the curb, and then I see the postman going delivering mail to their house, and I also kick the ass of the postman. When does that not be revenge anymore? This is where like this conversation is so like we can tone it down a bit. Hey, thanks for the follow. What's your username? Your username is just Investiguy. There we go. I just saw those trees. Hey Rolf, thanks for the follow. Bigger and better persons than me tried to answer the unanswerable and came up empty on these things. I think this topic is artificially also made a bit more loaded than it is. There would be an easy solution to this conflict. Israel tekee Amerikan työtä ja pitää kaikki maat siellä sodassa. Yeah, it's exactly like Israel is technically the military and peace front of America in the Middle East, acting as their like adjutant when it comes to relations in the Middle East. If some religion get major reforms, half of the world war. Oh yeah. Not all religions want war, but a lot of wars are fought because of religion. Not saying religions are bad. Tää live on hyvää iltaa kuunneltavaa. Thanks YG. Like, not all religions are horrible, but a lot of injustice and a lot of death have been done and is done in the name of religion. Also, I've been talking about religion being a powerful shield, also a tool, yeah. Like religion being a shield and a tool and a sword. And I do know that a lot of countries around the world uses religion as a shield when they are criticized, as a sword when they want to attack, and as a tool when they want to manipulate. But I understand what you're getting at. If we're always going to respond tit for tat, this whole mess will never be over, and I'm afraid we're not. Yeah. John, thanks for the follow. Opium of masses, made by men. If I was the leader of UN and I had power, I would take military forces from all countries. Not all of the military forces, but I would take military personnel from all countries. I would take them to the border of Gaza and Israel, and also West Bank and Israel, and force the war to stop. If all the nations unite on this front, they could stop it literally immediately. If they want to. The only people usually who veto this sort of an idea, there's a few countries that do that. Why? That's a good question. It is a good question. But it is an interesting topic, though. Hopefully, in my lifetime, we'll see this conflict coming to an end. It's kind of weird to jump from Gaza Strip to Kennedy Center show. Maybe this is a topic for another time. We have a New Year's stream tomorrow, which we're gonna round up different news topics. It's not gonna be a long stream tomorrow either. Usually I try to keep this like under 2 hours, because that's how much my ADHD will take until I start to ramble about Israel-Gaza topic for, what did I talk, 50 minutes. But tomorrow we're gonna have a wrap up of 2025. We're gonna go through some of the highlights of the year, both good and bad news, because there's been so much good happening in the world that not a lot of people know, because of like Trump having a fucking dementia-ridden like ramble, fucking I don't know what even to call those, or something happening in Gaza or Ukraine, or China is doing something again. Oh, well, all right then. God bless US, Israel, and EU. Happy New Year. Happy New Year as well, Gabriel Zipman. But like, there's been a lot of good things happening in the world as well. There's been a lot of scientific and medical advances happening in the world. There's also been really light-hearted stuff happening, like human kindness around the world. I can tell you one. I'm not going to show it tomorrow. I need to remember not to show it tomorrow. But 2025 ended in 6 days. Tomorrow. But like, one of the most heartwarming things I read about this year was there was a refugee managed coffee shop in the United States that they were offering homeless people birthday cakes around their community. And it's okay. I know that cakes aren't the most healthy things to eat, but hey, Bobby too, thanks for the early access. I was faster than Streamlabs. And I know birthday cakes and cakes in general aren't the most healthy thing to eat, but this owner of this bakery saw how many homeless people there were around the neighborhood, and also how nobody were celebrating them and spending time with them. So he is hand baking all of those himself. He's making those cakes to every single homeless person. He remembers, he's writing down all of the birthdays, and he's also trying to find them assistance when it comes to jobs and such. So he's doing a lot of good stuff, and that doesn't get any news coverage, news like that. And it also kind of makes me sad, because there's a lot of good stuff happening around the world, but it gets so much cluttered by assholes like me talking about bad news, and also just like the mainstream media talking about bad news. Hey Rufi, thanks for the one euro. You guys are too kind. I appreciate every single one of you guys being here with me. listening to me to ramble about stuff. But tomorrow we'll talk. I'll knock on wood. My table is made out of wood. I hope nothing happens in the next 24 hours, so we can actually talk about a bit more lighthearted stuff. And on top of course, everything that's going on in the world, but let's have a bit of a easier ending to the year. And if you can't join tomorrow, Happy New Year, guys, and we'll see you next year. And if you can't join tomorrow, we'll see you guys tomorrow. And it's been a wild 2025, 100%. Like Aishin 8087 said, 2025 in 6 days, 100%. That Poppy too. Thanks for the early access again. Happy New Year to you. Also, there's gonna be a long form video coming up. It's gonna be available for the early access members first, but it's gonna be for early access probably within the next few days. Depends on like how sick my wife is. She's gonna edit it. Yeah, it's gonna be a touchy video though, so it's gonna be related to politics. So if you're interested in those, you will get access to them earlier than anybody else. Yeah, thanks everyone. We'll see you guys tomorrow. If you don't, Happy New Year. Enjoy the rest of the day, morning, evening, wherever.